So are you willing to pay higher taxes? Or are you willing to accept more inflation? Well, if you are, good news. That's about to be put on the table. What we now know is that President Biden is going to propose additional taxes. In a leaked report, he's going to outline this on Thursday. Now, this is big news. This is big news out this week because what we now know is that the federal budget is going to change. Democrats said they will reduce spending over the next 10 years, and Republicans have vowed to balance the budget. Those are the two promises that we have. Now, I want to play a clip. This is from Senator Bill Hagerty. He was asked if he thinks President Biden will acknowledge the issues in his federal budget. And this is what he had to say. Listen to this clip.
Here's what I'm expecting. Again, this budget has arrived late, and it may well be dead on arrival, Maria, because if they talk about reducing the overall deficit and the overall debt, I think the only way Joe Biden is going to do it is by adding more taxes on the backs of hardworking Americans. They don't seem to demonstrate any inkling of a desire to actually cut back on this reckless runaway spending. We'll see what he comes up with, but my expectation is it's just going to be more spending and a lot more taxes, and that's not the way to fix this economy right now.
Now, here's the truth. The truth is that raising taxes in a tough economic climate is not the right move. So Senator Bill Hagerty is right. Currently, the United States national debt is $31.5 trillion. That means just the interest due is $539 billion. Now, the reports indicate that a handful of Democrats feel the same way. That this is not the time to increase taxes because the taxes are going to go to the American people. One Democrat recently said, "We can't only raise taxes. Why would we raise taxes without reducing wasteful spending? We must tackle both." But you know what this Democrat's talking about? They're not talking about cutting spending to nutrition assistance or to Social Security or Medicare or even Medicaid. They're talking about wasteful spending like when it comes to defense spending. That's what they're talking about. They also go on to say, telling corporations to pay more taxes is only going to push those costs onto the end consumer. This will not slow down inflation, it will only add to it. This is why some are saying that inflation is not over. It's not done. We are going to feel the impacts of inflation. It's coming back. Now, we also heard from Mark Goldwein. He's a senior policy director for the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. Now, we know that in order to balance the budget without an increase in taxes, without defense spending cuts, without cuts to Medicare or Social Security, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, they say we would need to cut other programs by 78%. 78%. This means effectively you're almost getting rid of them. Well, according to Mark Goldwein, he says, and I quote, "This effectively means you're eliminating almost all of government other than the military and programs specifically for middle-class seniors. It's just not realistic." That's the truth. The truth of the matter is that is what's going to happen. If we cannot raise taxes, we cannot provide cuts to Social Security, to defense spending, to Medicare, this means other things must go, or in most cases are almost going to be completely gone. This, again, is not realistic. But in this report, it also goes on to say that we could say goodbye to things like visiting a national park or food assistance. But according to Insider, it states that if you want to balance the budget without raising taxes or cutting defense, Social Security, and Medicare, you'd probably have to fire nearly every park ranger and cut 70% of anti-poverty spending. That's what they say. But obviously, this is not going to happen. We're not going to get rid of every single park ranger. They do serve a purpose. We're not going to cut 70% of anti-poverty spending. Just can't do it. But let's talk about this. Because for the longest time, and we've seen this, that Democrats want to, they want to fix things. They want to provide more to Medicare and Social Security and for anti-poverty measures. But the problem is we don't have the funding. Well, what do? Well, we've talked a little bit about Medicare. We've talked about what President Biden is going to plan. He's going to plan additional an increase. So his plan is actually to raise the tax from 3.8% to 5%. That's his plan, at least according to the leaked reports today. But we will have the full release on Thursday. Now, let's talk about Social Security for a second as well. Because what is the plan for Social Security? We can't only increase taxes and collect the revenue for Medicare, right? That's not going to solve any issue for Social Security. Well, Social Security needs additional funding too, or it will become insolvent by 2033. Okay, that's in 10 years. Now, obviously, Medicare, it's a little more pressing because they're closer to that insolvency date. But here's what you need to know right now. There's a group of bipartisan senators. Okay, they believe that we can slow down early retirement by educating Americans on the benefits behind waiting to collect benefits. And they say by slowing down early retirement, this will actually save a little bit of money. So they're saying that if you are able to start collecting monthly benefits at age 62, you can, but again, this is where the education factor comes in. They want to educate people that are turning 62 to wait. Wait to age 67. Wait to age 70 so that you can get the maximum benefit amount. That's what they're saying. Now, according to this bipartisan group of senators, educating Americans on when to start collecting benefits will help them secure more monthly income for the rest of their lives. But the big thing here is it's also going to slow down the early collection of benefits, which would actually prolong Social Security for a few more years. Now, according to the Social Security Administration, they say that in 2019, 35% of men and 40% of women claimed their benefits at age 62. Here's the problem. More people are claiming benefits early because, number one, they need the money. Number two, they need some help. They cannot work. Their body is shutting down. They just cannot function. So because of this, the best bet is to stop working, collect benefits, and that's it. Again, that's a major problem. But this is why I bring this up. President Biden's plan is to raise taxes on the wealthy. So again, when I said they were going to raise taxes from 3.8% up to 5%, that was on income over $400,000. We do not know what it's going to do to income below $400,000, but what I can tell you is raising, and we don't know if there's going to be a cap on that income, but if we are taxing people an additional 1.2% on income over $400,000, guess what? There are some Democratic senators that will not approve this. They will not accept this because they say we need to be fair and every person should pay additional taxes, not just people making over $400,000 per year. But again, keep this in mind. Who are the people, who are the businesses likely contributing to these senators, to their campaigns? Probably people making over $400,000 per year, right? So if they are contributing to their campaigns to get them elected, and now those officials are telling them, nope, you got to pay more taxes, we're going to vote on it, guess what? It's going to hurt them in the next election. So we're going to see what happens moving forward, but as for right now, get ready to pay higher taxes and be ready for additional inflation.